The Arena, a multi-platform gaming news podcast, is brought to you by, well, of course, you. If you want to learn more about how you can support the show, go to patreon.com/thearena_podcast.
Hit it! That's what I'm talking about. Wait!
Okay, now, from the beginning.
Hit it, boys.
Hello, everyone, and welcome into The Arena, a multi-platform gaming news podcast. This is episode 65. I'm your host, Expat, along with my co-hosts, Burley of Burleyman Gaming on Twitch, and Turn-Based Carl. Burley, how you doing?
Doing good. How are you, Expat? How are you, Carl?
You got
delay
that pause there?
between Japan and
good.
Canada, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Carl, how you doing, man?
I'm doing good.
Excellent.
I got a good sleep. I went to sleep early because I was feeling some body aches because I got the booster vaccine.
Oh, okay. Well, cool.
So 2 days ago, yesterday, I got the flu shot. So I got two things.
Wow.
I was like, I was feeling something. I'm like, I need to go to bed early just to make sure I'm okay. Need that extra rest. So.
Yeah. God,
Has
guys,
your
it's
5G
December
phone
already, man.
signal get boosted?
Surprisingly, no. I was told by various dark places on the internet that my cell phone service would get better, but for some reason, it's not happening.
I see. Yeah, guys, it's December already. Can you believe it, man? Yeah, we're only like 3 weeks away from Christmas. It's amazing.
I know, wild.
Yeah.
No, I know.
And we're going to be giving our 2022 gaming predictions on this episode, as well as we're going to be talking about the console that sold the most for Black Friday sales. We're going to talk about that. We're going to be talking about It Takes Two and the problems that's going on there. We're also going to be talking about another subscription service that's going to be coming down the pipeline. We got some news about that, so we're going to talk about that as well, of course, along with the new game releases for the week of December 6th through the 12th. But before we talk about what we've been playing this past week, here's a brief word about where you can find the podcast.
Before the crew discuss what they have been playing, this episode of The Arena, a multi-platform gaming news podcast, and the post-show will be going to Patreon in early access for 1 day after recording. So if you would like to support the show and become a patron at the entry tier 1 level at $1 per month, and get early access to every episode and post-show, as well as listen ad-free, please visit patreon.com/thearena_podcast for further details. Weekly on Sundays, the podcast will be uploaded to all free podcast services. Weekly on Wednesdays for the post-show, where you can find us on any podcast app for iOS or Android, Spotify, Amazon Music, and on Expat's YouTube channels, Expat YouTube Gaming and The Arena Citadel. Just download your favorite podcast app or open Spotify and search for The Arena, a multi-platform gaming news podcast. Subscribe, follow us, post a review, and leave us questions, comments, and feedback if you like, if that feature is available there, and spread the word about the podcast. We also have a Discord called The Arena Podcast, where you can join and chat with the Arena Podcast community, and the podcast website is at thearenapodcast.podbean.com, where you can follow us and leave questions and comments as well. Finally, you can also follow us on Twitter at The Arena, AMPGNP, as well as on Instagram at TheArena_podcast. Now, back to the show.
Okay, guys, this last week, I only played one game. I thought it was going to be playing more of Avengers. I kind of skipped that. I was debating whether or not to start New Game Plus on Horizon Zero Dawn because, you know, the next Horizon's going to be coming out here in a few months. But no, I went back to Scarlet Nexus. So I was playing a little bit more
cool.
of Scarlet Nexus. Yeah. Yeah, it's fun and all. I mean, I'm playing as Yuito's character. You know, you could choose from either Yuito or Kasane, but I'm playing as Yuito. The thing I'm really having a pet peeve about in this game is the side quests. There's just too many of them. Just, you're running around all over the place. It's either like fetching things. It kind of reminds me of Assassin's Creed. Like Valhalla and every other Assassin's Creed game where you have to go and pick something up. But I like the telekinesis abilities in the game and all. It's fun. And what's interesting is this game kind of reminds me a bit kind of like Kena Bridge of Spirits when it comes to the rot. Because, it's really interesting because, you have the others, right? And, of course, they have this type of rot as well. So, yeah, there's kind of some similarities there, little similarities. But, I mean, I'm having fun with it. It's Bandai Namco, and Toei. So it's the only game that I played this week, actually. So because next week, of course, we'll be talking about that later. There's a pretty big game coming next week, and we'll be talking about that later in the show. But Carl, what have you been playing this past week, man?
Yeah, I mean, just more Guardians and more Darkest Dungeon too. So nothing. I mean, I guess if I want to say anything about Guardians of the Galaxy, I mean, it's still really good. I'm still really enjoying it. Is it game of the year? I would say no, actually. I mean, I could, if you wanted to nominate it, I could understand. I think it excels in a lot of ways, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think it's just, to me, it seems like this is a great start to a franchise. Like, they need to make sure that, like, we're going to keep going with this because they're doing so many things well, and there's plenty of room for improvement, right? Because, like, combat, I find it fun, but I do understand that there's, like, that there could be doing more, right? For sure. I find certain things impressive, and also, like, it's not enough, which is like, I like how all your other character, the 4 of the Guardians are on the battlefield with you, and they're fighting, they're doing stuff, and it's believable. It looks good. I don't know a lot of games where you have that many allies who are also fighting with you, and they're doing so in a way that seems like it's effective. But when you really try to look at what's happening and what they're doing, they're kind of not doing too much. They're not doing too much damage to things. Like, you really do have to be directing them to do things. And I guess that's the point. But it is cool. Like, when you do melee attacks near them, they will sometimes do this auto attack where you'll do this thing. You'll, like, hit the guy up in the air, and then Groot will grab him, wrap him up, and throw him down. Stuff like that happens automatically. And all that's really cool. So, like, there's so much that they could elaborate and add on to. And man, I'm just so happy to see certain characters in there. Like, I put on the Discord, like, the random thing, like, showed Darkhawk in, like, a file.
I saw that.
I'm like, Darkhawk, what a freaking deep cut of a character to just, like, randomly, oh, there's Darkhawk, cool. Cosmo is, like, a actual character. You learn stuff about Cosmo. Do I say a spoiler? I don't know if it really matters, if people care. Of a character that shows up later. Adam Warlock shows up.
Okay.
Which I'm like, awesome, Adam Warlock, and it is a fun, interesting interpretation. I don't know him too well, like how he acts in the comics, but, like, I like what they're doing here. Mantis, when there's, like, a mission that you do with Mantis, like, with you the whole time, when you get to her interpretation of her character is significantly different from what we got in the movies, where she has this interesting thing where she constantly sees possible futures. So she's always speaking of, like, oh, this is the one where you fall down the hole there. This is the one where you don't succeed. I think I've seen you die many times like this before. She says weird stuff like that, and it's really interesting. I love it so much. Cool game. Cool. Highly recommend it.
All right. And Burley, what have you been playing this past week?
I've been playing 2 games. Spyro 2 Reignited. I've been streaming that. I love going back to that game. It's just a game from my childhood I've loved playing. And I've been playing out another PS1 game, Monkey Hero. It's a fun little platformer. Very tough. Very tough. But it's been fun. I've been streaming that.
What are you playing Spyro on? What console? 5?
Oh, my PS5. I've been
Your PS5,
been playing through the reignited version.
Oh, okay. I see. Cool.
Those are beautiful, by the way.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh yeah.
Like I actually have that because my wife. I was one of the games she actually played when she was younger. The Spyro trilogy games. So we got that and we played it a bit together. And I had never really played them, but I think they hold up pretty well as like that type of platformer. They're really fun.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go ahead and jump into the weekly news beat. So first on the list, of course, last week we had Thanksgiving and Black Friday. Man, it's like we're only a few weeks from Christmas. It's coming and going really quickly. But
no,
you would have thought that maybe Xbox Series X or PS5, which unfortunately not many people can still get their hands on, would be the top selling console. Or maybe even the Switch. You would have thought the Switch would have been the best-selling console for Black Friday, but they weren't. The Xbox Series S beats the Series X, PS5, and Nintendo Switch as the best-selling console across Black Friday. I'm going to read this for you. This is from Hiram Cryer over at Games Radar, so I'm going to go ahead and read a little bit of this for you. So, Xbox Series S is reportedly the best-selling console over Black Friday, beating out PS5, Xbox Series X, and Nintendo Switch. First reported by Business Insider, the Adobe Digital Economy Index claims to have analyzed over 1 trillion visits to retail sites and surveyed over 1,000 customers about their buying habits over the Black Friday period last week. This extensive research has apparently indicated that the Xbox Series S has emerged the winner over the last few days of deals. It might be somewhat surprising at first, but remember, of course, that the Xbox Series S is significantly cheaper than both the Xbox Series X and PS5, designed as an entry point for a wider audience and customer base. Therefore, it's not really that surprising that a console designed to appeal to a wider variety of customers would emerge as the best-selling machine over Black Friday. So, I want to get your guys' thoughts on this. Were you surprised at all that the Series S won Black Friday? What do you guys think? Burley, you are an Xbox Series S owner. How do you feel about this? What do you think? Were you surprised?
I was a little surprised, but then I had to sit and kind of think and be like, yeah. And then I re-looked at some of the deals. And out of them all, like the Series S gave you in certain spots, they gave you like a couple months of Game Pass where you bought. So it was like, it kind of no brainer. Like when I bought mine, you buy it,
more of an incentive.
You're getting the incentive. Plus, you have that library of games. You have the streaming service, so you can plop this in, and as long as you have a good internet connection. You don't have to download a lot of games. You can just stream them, try them, and go.
Carl, were you surprised at this at all? I mean, for me, I would have thought the Switch would have been the best seller. But
yeah, that's the same thing I was thinking. I a little surprised in that it beat the Switch because for some reason the Switch just never stopped selling. I don't know why. I get that, like, we're talking, I obviously, supply issues is why the PS5 and Series X didn't sell as well. Right? It's interesting that Microsoft was able to make enough Series S consoles in all this still. To win that. Switch seems to, like, I know Switch OLED isn't really there isn't a lot available. But that doesn't mean the regular Switch, which they had the same damn old deal again, the Mario Kart 8 bundle for the exact same price, like every damn freaking year.
Just if they would have bundled it with Metroid Dread. Ooh.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right. Well, and
Yeah.
I mean, how about anything newer than Mario Kart 8? Please,
Exactly.
anything.
Yeah. Exactly.
Anything. I mean, just put Breath of the Wild in there. I mean, it seems like everyone's still buying that.
Yeah.
If you're buying a Switch, I guess you may not have that, but I feel like how many of these new Switches are people who've never had a Switch? Maybe the kids. I don't know, man. I just don't know. I can't figure it out. Like, keeps buying these things.
Well, then you have to
Well,
factor
I
in
know
the Switch Lite too. So
Yeah.
I mean, kids are probably getting the Switch Lites more. So
Yeah, I'm a big kid.
Well,
I know the Switch Lite.
yeah.
Oh, I know a lot of people that commute to work and they bought the Switch Lite, and then I know people that had waited for the Switch and then they just picked up the OLED when the OLED came out.
But yeah, good on the Series S, man. That's awesome for them to put that out there. And I think it really shows you how smart of a move it was for Microsoft to do this.
Yeah.
Because they do know that like entry level for consoles is important. And we all know that like a lot of these, like you look at the past, the 360 had that arcade edition, right? That worked really well for them. The one didn't have a hard drive, but I know people who bought it, didn't really care. They didn't think about it. They're just like, I'll buy this cheap one. I want the cheap one.
Yeah.
And you look at like PS2 generation, especially where once the price dropped and they had the smallest Slims edition, like those sold like hotcakes once they were real cheap. So like they know like if you get it down to a certain price point, those things are going to fly off the shelf. So now you got everyone in your ecosystem. Everyone's getting Game Pass, and it's an easy sell to say like, hey, guess what? You buy this now, you get Forza Horizon 5 and you get Halo Infinite included.
Yeah. Yeah. And you got go ahead, Burley.
It's not only just like you getting them in the Game Pass ecosystem and at the cheaper price point. One of the big things is Microsoft, you got a small form factor box. Whereas the PS5 and Series X, they're big, bulky machines. That Series S is so nice and small. Like I showed my dad when we were putting up my TV and he was like, wow, that's actually really, really small. And it's like, you get those. I know tons of people that want those just because you can slide them in, set it, forget it, and just play Game Pass.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's a little understated for a younger audience who, wants to like, they have friends, they go to their house, they can just grab their Series S and bring it with them. It's not that hard. Like the intended idea of the GameCube, right? Where you got the handle and you're just going to, carry it like that. I mean, obviously, no, you wouldn't, but like you could.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think this is just a trend that's been going on for many, many years. You have parents that have no idea what they're getting into. They're not gamers, and they go into an electronics store and they want to, of course, their children want video games and want a console for Christmas. And, they want to buy something for them that's the least expensive. And I think with the Xbox Series S right now, I mean, that's the best alternative. Whether that's going to continue for the next few years of Christmas shopping seasons, we shall see. But if this is any indicator, it could possibly be that way. We shall see. But
yeah, and I think even if you're someone who gets this thing as a gift, and maybe you didn't want that, right? You're a kid who like kind of knows what's going on. You're like, I wanted an X, but you got an S.
Yeah,
Burley can probably attest to this. Like, you're going to be satisfied with what you got.
Yep.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
All right. Okay, so let's go ahead and move on. So next up, It Takes Two and Take-Two Interactive. Joseph Fares' game, It Takes Two, of course, is at the Game Awards, and it's up for Game of the Year at the Game Awards. And I want to say one thing about the Game Awards before we go into the story. Jeff Keighley on Twitter just hours ago, he tweeted that in regards to Activision Blizzard, that besides being, nominated for certain things, that's the only thing they're going to be represented by at the Game Awards. Mm-hmm. So there's going to be no mention of Activision Blizzard, basically, at the show. So he came out with that and confirmed that. hours ago on Twitter. But anyway, let's get back to the Joseph Fares and It Takes Two situation here. So, of course, It Takes Two is up for Game of the Year, but it looks like Take-Two Interactive doesn't like the fact that they're using the name It Takes Two. So this is from George Yang over at IGN.com. So Joseph Fares' game It Takes Two is hit with claim from Take-Two Interactive. So Grand Theft Auto parent company Take-Two Interactive has hit Hazelight Studios' game It Takes Two with a trademark claim. Records indicate that Hazelight has seemingly been forced to abandon ownership of the game's name. In a statement to Eurogamer, a Hazelight spokesperson told the outlet that the studio cannot comment on ongoing disputes, but hopes that the situation will be resolved. Take-Two has also been filing trademark claims for names that include words like, quote, rock star, end quote, social club, end quote, mafia, end quote, and, quote, civilization, end quote. These words all have connections to products or services that Take-Two owns, such as Rockstar Games, Rockstar Social Club, and the Mafia franchise. Not only is Hazelight affected, but other businesses unrelated to the games industry are as well. A clothing brand, quote, Max Fane, end quote, has been included in Take-Two's trademark claims, presumably due to its closeness to the studio's Max Payne franchise. I mean, so basically, Take-Two hasn't had a very good month. Of course, the GTA, debacle with the way it looks and all the problems and bugs and everything, and with that, and then this. I mean, they just want to be hated by most gamers now. I mean, I don't know. It's like, what the hell? Come on, man. I mean,
they're joining the competition of Activision, EA, Ubisoft. They're all fighting for like, the bottom.
Yeah, it's funny. It's like, when it's all said and done, there's going to be like, when it comes to like the Spider-Man movie, the Sinister Six, there's going to be like 6 gaming companies that are going to be forming the Sinister Six.
God, yeah. Meanwhile, like, Sony and Microsoft fans are all like at each other's throats, but they should be coming together and be like, actually, look at these guys over there. Screw those guys.
Yeah. Yeah, could you imagine? I mean, it's like they might actually have to change the name of this game because of that. I mean, it's ridiculous. I mean, come on.
What I saw that they... Go ahead.
Burley, go ahead.
Yeah. Sorry, I just heard that. EA is going to step in on this. EA ain't going to let this happen. They're going to put their gun. EA is stupid. Like they are stupid, but
yeah.
Let me rephrase that. EA, this game's been selling and doing well. EA is not going to let Take-Two bully them. EA will fight this. Mm-hmm. They fight all the gambling lawsuits and all that shit. They're going to fight this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know the legality of it. Like I assume that's something that can happen, but they, as the story goes, it says that they are targeting Hazelight, right, the developer, not EA, the publisher.
Yeah.
So I don't know how that works legally. I would assume EA would have some way to get in on this, and they should. And if they want to, improve their image, this is a good way to take up that fight.
Yeah.
I don't understand all this nonsense trademarking. Like, they need to like rule against. Obviously, like they have more money and they're going to bully them. That's what they're doing. Right. That's what always happens.
Yep.
You got your wealthy people and corporations who bully people with lawsuits because if you don't have the money, you generally can't fight it. It's really hard in America. I don't know how other countries, but they should lose this. I mean, you think about it, like your company is called Take-Two.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's a company name.
Right.
That publishes games. This is a video game called It Takes Two.
Like it takes 2 people to get things done. I mean,
you only got one word in common. Okay.
Yeah.
Which is the number, which is 2, which is a pretty damn common thing, I'd say.
Yeah.
And I don't think you have any grounds to say that they can't have the trademark on that as a name for a video game.
Yeah.
I don't understand it.
Yeah. One other thing I want to bring up too is Take-Two has been pissing off a lot of GTA modders recently as well.
Yeah.
So when it comes to GTA Online stuff. So yeah, man, I think Hazelight should win this. Whatever it comes down to. So it's ridiculous.
Really call serious question into, with the GTA news and this, that it's like Take-Two is becoming one of these companies that like as gamers, like we don't look at as someone that we can expect to do the right thing, as far as, as a company level and the games that they're putting out. Like what can we expect? Okay, Red Dead Redemption 2 was great. Okay. But like that's the last thing they've done great, I think, right?
Okay, so watch. Then another company's going to come out with a game in the near future called Dead Red.
Yeah, right.
And then they're going to be pissed off and they're going to say, no, you can't have that name.
And I guess the thing
we
is,
own Red Dead Redemption.
You wouldn't even try at this point because it would be too risky.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's what they want.
Yeah, that's what they want. Okay, next up on the list. Speaking of things we want, I don't know if you guys want this or not. I have Game Pass. Carl, you have Game Pass. Burley, you have Game Pass. Well, we saw this coming. I mean, come on. I mean, PlayStation, they have PlayStation Now. They have PS Plus, but PlayStation Now hasn't been really doing what the company thought it would do for them. And they're seeing how well Game Pass is doing, So now, of course, they come out today and they say, we're going to be coming out with our own, streaming service. Game Pass competitor. I don't know if we can really call it a competitor yet. We'll see. But Spartacus is the code name for this. And it's supposedly going to be coming out next spring. And, for me, I really think that this is a good thing for Sony. And I think this is good for competition, obviously. Is it on par with Game Pass? Personally, I don't think it will be, because I don't think Sony will ever give their gamers day one access to their first-party studio games.
Yeah.
It's not going to happen.
That were put out, the supposed details.
I'm gonna read what they said, but I'm just going through how I feel about this, and is it going to be on par? I don't think so. I do not see Sony giving access day one on a new service of their AAA titles. I just don't see it. Indie games, maybe, but big games like God of War Ragnarok when it comes out, Horizon Forbidden West, there's no chance in hell that's going to come to their service day one. So, I mean, I think in that sense, Game Pass is going to have an advantage, but we shall see. Supposedly there's going to be 3 tiers to this service. So I'm going to get into the details now. So this is from George Yang over at GameSpot. PlayStation is reportedly planning a new subscription service to compete with Xbox Game Pass, with the ability to play original PlayStation, PlayStation 2, and PlayStation 3, and PlayStation Portable games. According to a new report from Bloomberg, this service is codenamed Spartacus. Now, I don't know why it's called Spartacus, but anyway. Owners will be able to pay a monthly fee to play classic and modern games from PlayStation's catalog. The service will most likely be available on PlayStation 4 as well as PlayStation 5. Spartacus is reportedly expected to launch in spring 2022 and will merge both existing subscription plans of PlayStation Plus and PlayStation Now together. However, the PlayStation Now name is going to be phased out while PlayStation Plus remains. Details aren't finalized, but the service will reportedly have 3 tiers. The first tier will retain existing PlayStation Plus benefits, and the second tier will allow players to access a large selection of PS4 titles with PS5 ones eventually. The third and highest tier will include extended demos, game streaming, and a library of legacy content from PS1, PS2, PS3, and PSP games. Vita games are conspicuously absent from the reported lineup, although it's possible that's due to the difficulty of mapping touch controls to a PS4 or PS5 controller. Okay, guys, it's a little bit to sink in there, but Carl, I'll start with you on this one. What do you think of this supposed service, and what is it going to do for PlayStation? And do you think it will be on par or a very close competitor to Game Pass?
That's the operative word here, like competitor, right? Like everyone seems to be describing this as like, oh, they're finally making a Game Pass competitor. But like,
yeah,
you already had PS Now. I mean, and I get that like PS Now predates Game Pass, and it's in its original conception wasn't Game Pass, right? Mm-hmm. But once Game Pass came out and as time went on, like they added downloadable games, and it is essentially the same thing as Game Pass, right? There's very little different, minute. It's like saying that like Netflix and Hulu aren't competitors, right? Because they have slightly different offerings. Like that's not. It's just like they never marketed it well. Maybe because they didn't. I don't know. The service. You can say that PS Now is a failure. I think it's pretty. I think it's pretty okay to just say that, right? Like, their subscriber base isn't strong enough to justify that service, and this is basically an admission that like we aren't competitive with Game Pass, and we want to be. And to the point where like we have to just can the name because PS Now isn't a brand that they think that they can recoup at this point, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I have a friend who has PS Now, and he really likes it. He uses it a lot. And there's a lot of games on there, and it's actually like if you look at what it's offering, there's a ton of stuff on it. And if you aren't looking for like you take the day one games out of the equation, like it is very comparable. That's basically the one thing they don't have. And like you said, it doesn't seem like they're even gonna do that. So like, what even is this new service at this point? What's the big change? The big change is just we're finally going to give you some PS5 games. They're going to update this thing. Like, that this thing, if you don't know, like is a PS4 service, PS Now. So you can't get the PS5 upgraded versions of PS4 games if you're using this service, which that just shows the same problem they had with what was it? Like they couldn't change your PSN names, right? Like they just didn't. They didn't design the service with like forward thinking at all.
Right. It took forever to get that done. So,
it's the same idea. So like they kind of have to like, they basically have to revamp the whole service, and in the process, they're like, well, it's not successful, so let's just lump it in with PS Plus, which is successful. But if you look at the three tiers, I mean, what are you really getting? You're getting tier 1, PS Plus, nothing different. Okay. Tier 2, PS Now. Okay. Upgraded PS Now, right? It's going to have some better stuff to it, right?
Yeah.
And then the supposed top tier that's like, hey, guess what? We're going to give you some backwards compatible games that are definitely most likely going to be streaming and not native at all, unless they
and extended demos of what?
Whatever.
New games?
And they could. I think they might, which sounds nice. Like I think they might do, and it might be a streaming thing where you can stream a new game and test it out, and that's cool. That's a good feature. And I'm not saying this is a bad service. It's going to be definitely better than what PS Plus, right?
Of
PS
course.
Now is, but it's not. From what they're saying, it's not going to be as good as Game Pass already.
Yeah. Burley, what's your take on this?
I want to be hopeful on this thing, but Sony doesn't have the money. Microsoft does. So this service is going to get lacking in titles. Not even just the day one, but of the library. It's only going to be mostly the first party. Like I am a PS Now subscriber. I bought for this year, and I've had my fun. Don't get me wrong, and I've played quite a few games that I never would have gotten a chance to because I wouldn't have been like, I don't want to spend $20-$30 on this because I spent 40 something on the membership. But it's like, I just I can't see with the way Sony has done this in the past.
Mm-hmm.
You're just gonna get some of these games, and then you're gonna be like, okay, they put out a fair amount to start, but then they're not that they'll stagger them better than Nintendo, but not by much.
Yeah.
And it's like I'm gonna be waiting for big titles. Everyone's gonna want, like, you know, your Horizon and stuff like that, but some of them may not come on there as quick as you want.
Yeah, that's.
So
I was just gonna say that's. I think this is the key, is that they are, like I said, I've said it a few times already, but they will not. And I'll put all my money on this too. They will not put day one first-party studio games on this new service. It's not going to happen because, like Burley was saying, they don't have the money like Microsoft does. They do not have the money. They need that $70 per game from each gamer to play these games.
Yeah.
They are not going to put it on a new service day one. It's just not going to happen. It's not going to happen. And it's you know, like we've said this a lot on the podcast, you know, like with Nintendo as well. It's a Japanese company. They're thinking of profit when it comes to these games over anything else. And I'm telling you right now, when they see, okay, we put it on the service, they get it for free because we charge them $10, $15 a month, or we get $70 up front for one game from one gamer.
So it's what's interesting is, are they going to, with the 3 tiers, basically have a system where you have a different library based on the tier you have?
That's a possibility, maybe. I don't know. Yeah.
And that's not, I don't think that's good. I think that's confusing because Game Pass, like the simplicity, the ease of it is that you get the same library everywhere.
Yeah.
With, I mean, the slight exceptions of like PC, which I think people more easily understand that, right?
Yeah. And then of course, also with the Ultimate subscription, you know, you get the PC combined as well.
Right. And Cloud, right. See, that's the thing, is you get that as well if you have Ultimate. Right. And if you have Cloud, I know there are some games that Cloud don't run. It doesn't run everything on Cloud, right? So there is slight differences, but for the most part, the library is, like, the core of the library is the same across the board. You know what you're going to get.
Right.
And this seems like, you know, your PS Plus level is just going to be your standard PS Plus stuff. And then your PS Plus level is going to be like your Game Pass level library, your PS Now library, and then like your plus level. I don't know.
The plus is going to be like all the, you know, like the backwards compatibility library. Yeah.
Like I can play Chrono Cross before the remaster that's supposedly happening.
And you know, they might put like the Vita games in there too. I mean, at some point. Yeah. So,
you know, if they do, okay. See, here's another thing that we still don't know is, are they going to add their first party games? Not even day one. I'm talking about their older first parties. Like day one of this service, will I be able to play Last of Us Part 2, Ghost of Tsushima, you know, Days Gone, what else? You know, Returnal, Demon's Souls, Spider-Man, Miles Morales. I should be able to play all of those day one in March, right? For this service, they are all seemingly old enough. With the exception, I guess.
What they'll say with that, though, Carl, is probably if you have a PS5, because with the PS5 they started offering that PlayStation Plus experience. What was it? That was the name of it, right, Burley? And it's
PS Plus collection.
PS Plus collection. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. So for PS5, you know, owners, they'll say, okay, if you have a PS5, you can do that. But if you're a PS4 owner, sorry.
Yeah. So like, if that's the case, I'll definitely want the service. You know, if you're giving me all your first party games from the past, and I'm talking let's say a year back, right? I'll accept that. I will want your service if I get every first party game in perpetuity. Okay, never take them out of the damn service. Okay, that's bullshit. You should God of War, right? Like, there's no reason that PS Now has a rotating library of first party games. Once they're there, they should be there.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah, it will be a great service. People will love it if it does.
Yeah.
That is a minimum. It doesn't need day one. I understand that. That's a Microsoft was like making a real gamble, a real play with that when they did.
Well, even if it's like 6 months later, these first party games,
Right.
6 months later they'll jump onto the service, and hell yeah, I mean, a lot of people are gonna or jump on. I think so.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we shall see. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
interesting. So, all right. So yeah, we'll be looking forward to hearing more about Spartacus as it comes down the pipeline later on and into the spring. I don't know. Why do you guys think they codenamed it Spartacus? Does it have something to do with God of War?
I don't think so. That's funny. My most cynical look at it is like the first two PS5 games on this service will be like Destruction All Stars and Returnal, just because they didn't sell well.
No, I don't know about Returnal. It'd be like Bug Snacks, something like very few people are caring as much for.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
I get that.
that's third party indie, right? That's like an indie exclusive, like time exclusive, I assume.
Sure.
Yeah.
I'm talking about like first party,
Okay, guys. As we did last year, towards the end of the year, we give our predictions for the next year in the gaming industry of games, of hardware, anything you want to throw out there. So it's time to start our predictions for 2022. So we're going to do 2 predictions for each of us. Okay. So I'll start first. Here's my number 1 prediction for 2022. And we've been talking about PlayStation, so I'm going to throw it out there. Because PlayStation this year, it wasn't one of their best years. Obviously, the PS5 was hard to find. Only a few exclusives, really. Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart. Kena Bridge of Spirits was a really big and really good surprise on the indie level. Deathloop, of course, which is now, of course, a Xbox Studio. That's another thing. I predict PlayStation. Of course, now you got Spartacus. It's going to be coming next year as well. That's got to be thrown into the mix. But PlayStation's going to have a bounce back year next year. They're going to, of course,
what a safe prediction. No.
Let me finish, Carl. Let me finish, okay? Of the 2 big exclusives, God of War Ragnarok, Horizon Forbidden West, one of those 2 is going to win Game of the Year next year. And Horizon Forbidden West will come as expected in February. Yeah, it's not going to be delayed. I think God of War is coming in November. And it's gonna beat the time where the Game Awards has its cutoff point. It's gonna meet the cutoff point, and it's gonna win Game of the Year. God of War Ragnarok. It's either that or Horizon Forbidden West. So I really expect PlayStation to have a comeback year next year. Not only with more first party exclusives, but those are the big 2, and I expect them both to come out next year. And we might even get. I'm gonna throw this into the prediction as well with PlayStation. I think that PSVR 2 will be announced next year, probably in the summer, maybe during E3. We will see some kind of hardware announcement. We will actually see what it looks like. And we'll get a price point, and it will probably come out in the fall around Christmas season. So that's my first prediction. I think PlayStation is going to have a bounce back year. God of War Ragnarok will win Game of the Year. And we'll probably see the PlayStation VR 2. What do you guys think?
Yeah, interesting with God of War. I mean, I think it's a good chance it will still hit next year, right? We just don't know. But release date, like they don't ever release games at that point of the year, Sony. Not that they can't. I mean, and maybe they should at this point if they're looking at what's going on with Xbox, right? Like you know, Forza and Halo are doing really big for them right now. So maybe they're starting to think that maybe we should have something that hits later in the year.
Let me just say this, Carl. I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to. The only thing that I feel would make God of War Ragnarok come out earlier than November is if Starfield hits that date. You don't want. You don't want God of War and Starfield coming out at the same time. You know, so if it's definitely going to go gold, and if Starfield is coming out, 11, 22 or whatever, God of War will probably come out in October.
And that's probably a better bet. I don't personally think Starfield's going to miss that date. I think that they know for sure that they have to hit that, and how important that will be. To the extent that I think that they're going to want to even make sure it's ready significantly before that, so that it can be nominated at the Game Awards. Because as we can see this year, the Forza Horizon 5 thing and even Halo Infinite it's a big deal that those aren't there.
No.
And you can see, if you saw the Players' Choice Awards choice right now, Halo Infinite is somehow, I did not expect this, in the lead for the Players' Choice vote.
No.
So it matters.
No.
It matters. So Sony will definitely want to make sure that that game is nowhere near that date. So like everyone has had their review copy and has played it, and they're ready to nominate.
Right. And it'll be far out because Horizon will have come out in February. That'll be, far out already. And then of course in 2023 you've got Spider-Man 2 that they're really going to be focusing on as well. So you don't want God of War Ragnarok and Spider-Man 3 to clash. So we'll see. Burley, what do you think? What do you think of that prediction?
I think that's a pretty safe prediction, and I agree that Sony's next year, they're gonna do everything they can to do that bounce back. Like having Horizon come out so early, just to get it out and try and, besides Elden Ring, its competition in Dying Light 2, they're really trying to push it out early, get people to buy and play into the game, and then God of War near the end of the year, and try and. I could see God of War, because God of War 2018 did so well with people, and really I could see that winning game of the year. PSVR 2, I feel we will get. I feel we'll get info on it. Whether or not it releases in 2022, that I have no idea.
Yeah. I think at the very least they're going to show it.
Oh,
you're going to see what it looks like.
Oh yeah,
in the summer, and then whether or not it comes out in the Christmas season or early in 2023, who knows? But okay, Burley, what's your first prediction for 2022?
My first prediction is hardware based. We're gonna get a new Nintendo Direct in early March. I'm thinking. I think we all know where I'm going here. We're gonna get that. We're getting that next Nintendo console, Switch 4K, whatever, Switch Plus, whatever naming scheme Nintendo's gonna go.
Fabled Switch Pro, right?
Yeah, the Switch Pro, the Switch Wii U, whatever naming convention they're gonna do. But it's just like,
oh no,
the new Nintendo Switch. To go off the 3DS
Super Switch.
Switch, yes. I have a feeling we're going to get that, and they're going to show, because we haven't seen anything on Breath of the Wild 2 lately. I think they're going to be like, day one when this comes out, Breath of the Wild 2. Because that did so well with them with the original Switch. I feel they're gonna heavily lean in on that together. Those two together.
Okay. Cool.
So then, Burley, tell me, what do you think the Super Switch? I'm just calling it that.
Let's just call it the Super Switch.
The Switch.
Right? What will it be? What like hardware wise? What are we getting out of this?
Yeah.
What
kind
gonna
of
get
specs? Yeah.
We're gonna get the 4K on dock, or close to it. I have a feel. Whether or not we're gonna get 10 and full 1080p on handheld, that I don't know. I'm hoping we sit. My hope is they keep with like the OLED where they had the wired dock port and stuff like that, and hopefully they keep it up to at least 128 on storage on the console, because that was the thing. The Switch launching with 32 gigs was the dumbest thing in the world to me.
They got to keep those low for price. But what about frame rate?
Frame rate. See this I'm bad with like tech stuff like this, just because I was like, I think we're gonna get the full 60 on dock. On handheld, I think they're gonna still cap it and go like the 30.
Cap it at 30.
30 for the new games. Your old games, I would hope they my predictions, they're gonna do a little boost mode where you're playing Breath of the Wild on the new one, on the new Super Switch. We're gonna boost up that frame rate and everything while you're on there.
So Burley, when will it release?
We're gonna get that. We're gonna go with the good old November.
November, okay.
Yeah, because Nintendo has done their hardware there before. I have a feeling November 22, because Nintendo's got to have something to compete against Starfield and everything else. So might as well put arguably one of their top franchises, put it out there and just go swinging.
Just think if Breath of the Wild 2 comes out. So just think of what the Game Awards. We already know what the Game Award or Game of the Year nominees are going to be. Breath of the Wild 2, God of War Ragnarok, Horizon Zero Dawn, or Forbidden West. Horizon Forbidden West, and Starfield. Right. And throw in another game that might surprise us all.
And Hogwarts Legacy.
No, Elden Ring.
No.
Elden
Ring
is probably going to be in there, yeah.
Guys, it's going to be Witcher 3 PS5 edition. God.
Yeah. No, Cyberpunk. Come on now.
Yeah. Cyberpunk's going to make a big comeback in 2022.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
So, okay, wait. So with this idea, like, do you think that the dock's doing some work here?
You're going to get boosted with the dock. But
because as it is right now, the way it works, right, is that when you dock it can run at a higher frequency because it's drawing more power. So like all the internal hardware is the same. It's nothing to do with the dock. It's just to do with the fact that you're drawing more power. So yeah, like can they? I mean, I think it's plausible, but will they have the dock actually be something that's doing hardware work?
Well, you could always have it like I don't know how some of you guys are familiar with this, but Alienware and some of the other computing companies, they had for laptops, gaming laptops, they had little ports that I think it was USB, a special like USB-C Thunderbolt port where you'd plug in, and it was a little adapter that was basically a graphics card to boost your machine.
Okay.
So they could do something
like that.
Oh, they were quite expensive. If I don't,
there you go. Nintendo ain't gonna go expensive. See, that's the problem with that, right? Like, if you need the dock to do work, now it's got to have a processor of some sort in it. That's another chip. That's more money, right? Actually, I just remembered there was the Surface laptop where you can remove the screen entirely and it functions by itself as a tablet. I forgot about that. Yep. And then when you plug it back into the rest of the computer, it has more power. It has more graphics capability because that's where all that stuff is. Like it can run separately. So like that's also a very expensive device.
Yeah. So
like I was thinking about this, and I was like, it was sort of like in a prediction I was kind of putting together, but I kind of was like, leave it alone. I'm sure someone else might do that Switch Pro thing. Nintendo's crazy, right?
Come on, Carl. You were thinking of Burley, man. Come on, man.
Yeah. Nintendo pretty crazy. Okay, here's my idea. What I think that they could do and maybe should do is, okay, I like the idea of like a Switch Home, right? Like a device that doesn't have a screen. That's just like a traditional version of the system, right? A console. But obviously that doesn't sound like, that's not a Switch, right? And neither is the Lite, right? But to make it a Switch, what they could do, and to keep the price down, is they can make a device that's like a small little unit that has no screen on it, right? That they could sell as a base unit like that, but have it modular, similar to the Switch, where they sell a screen where the controller is attached to it as well, so that it is then now also a Switch. It switches, from home unit to that. So that
I see
when it's
where
the
you're
home,
going with this.
yeah, so that you can put more in it, right? There's a bigger, you can make it a little bigger. I don't think people really, because you look at the Steam Deck, I don't think people really give a crap about how big this damn thing is at this point, because the Steam Deck is like a full size keyboard almost without number pads. So they can go bigger and make it this modular device and sell those separately, so that the sticker shock isn't crazy. That can still sell at like, I don't know, 250, 300, and then the screen you add on for like another 150 or whatever, however you want to price it, right?
Yeah.
Because you got to think, they can't go back from OLED, right? Do you think that they're going to do Switch Pro and not have it be OLED?
No,
I
they can't go back, but to go to your modular idea, that's going to be too complex, and people are not going to be happy that, I bought the Switch originally and I could do both portable and docking. Now you got to tell me I got to buy the base unit, then got to buy this, then I got to buy that. I got to buy 10 things to get it to what I had it.
Well, could you imagine the grandma going in to shop for Christmas? She just buys the module, and then she takes it home, and then the son opens it for Christmas, and it's just the module, and they can't play anything on it.
I mean, they'd be bundled together. People are not that dumb.
Yeah, it would have to be. It would have to be.
Yeah.
People were dumb. I know people that were getting the Wii and Wii U confused with games and stuff like that and accessories.
They exist, but they will sort it out, right? Eventually. When you think about the price, the reason I bring up the OLED, right, is because the base price now is $350, right? So if you release a Switch Pro, it's got to be $400, right?
Yeah.
Is that too expensive? And can it only be 400, right? If they add enough, can they really get it to 400? That's just where I'm at with this pricing. Like because at this point, if you sell it modular, you can be like, I'll sell it for 450, 500, because who cares? Because these people who really want it are going to buy it, and the people who don't care will buy the lower model, the regular Switch, and the people who want to even just have a home unit can just buy the home version, like the without the rest of it. Like I think it's an awesome way to do it. It's something I would want, but you never know.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Let's leave it at that. Carl, what's your first prediction for 2022?
All right. Yeah, I was thinking hardware, so I have a hardware one.
Okay.
And I'm thinking that we will see new hardware from both Sony and Microsoft. Okay. And I'm thinking, on the Microsoft side, we're going to see a Series X without a disk drive, right? However they want to call that, whatever that's going to be.
Series X digital.
Yeah, however they want to do it, because clearly there's a market for that, and people want that.
Okay. At
this point, I don't know how pricing wise what they can do with that. Can they? I don't think they can increase storage, so I don't know how they're gonna without increasing the price significantly, because we know that storage is so expensive. Now, I do think, though, they will also release a new Series S version. And that version will have a terabyte of storage in it.
Okay.
Because that 500 is real small. It is not going to cut it going forward.
Yeah.
And
okay, so what's your prediction on if they do this, when do they come out?
End of the year at some point, yeah.
End of the year.
Closer to the end of the year. I mean, November, but probably not early, maybe earlier, Could be October.
In time for Starfield and your Starfield exclusive consoles.
It's got to be in time for the holidays. And obviously, supply constraints, it's going to be a problem, right?
That's a big problem, I think, because they still want to get those Series X's and Series S's out there as much as they can, and to come out with new models. Yeah. Especially when we're still, in the pandemic, that might be a little too early for that. Maybe I don't know.
You would think that, but I think it doesn't really matter, right? Because like if they can get the parts, they can get the parts, and if they put it in at one unit or another, what does it matter? You know, it's still the same parts they need. There's no reason that they're going to stop innovating because of this, right? Like they're still. I'm sure the day both Microsoft and Sony released these consoles, they were like thinking, what are we doing with the next version of this, right?
Yeah. They were probably thinking, at least 2 or 3 years before that. Yeah. So
on the Sony side, I think they will I think we'll see a slim model. I really do. I think they know that like this thing is a monster and
it's a tank.
Yeah. And that's not really working for them. And yes, they've patented those fin things at this point, but we haven't seen those as something that they're selling as a product. And maybe that's because they know that going forward, that's not going to be a thing.
Yeah.
You know, so they just don't want that to be the case. I could be wrong. I mean, but I don't think that we're going to have that same design going forward. And we saw already with the revision they did on the PS5 that like they want to make it cheaper, right? And if you have the ability to redesign and make it smaller and still as effective and powerful, like you're going to do that, and you're going to try to save costs. And they know that the digital PS5, right, is just probably killing them on money. I'm sure they're losing money on every one of those they sell. No, I just don't see how they could. And that's why you don't see them. And as far as everyone seems to say, like you cannot find a digital PS5.
Because I bought the only one.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've seen them anywhere. Yeah. Right. Like, I just don't think they don't want to sell those because the profit margin, I'm sure, is very, very small, if anything. Right.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure the profit margin on the normal one isn't high.
Exactly. Already. Right. It's like if they can cut that cost somehow by redesigning it, they should, and they will. And that's why I think that we will see new hardware from both of them. And they want to keep fresh and keep competing. They want people to buy more of these units, regardless that they're already selling, and they can't sell enough. It doesn't matter. You still got to keep innovating and giving the people who already have it maybe to want to change it up and buy a new one.
Okay. All right. My second prediction, guys. We're just talking about hardware, and one of the reasons why a lot of people had problems getting hardware was because of bots, of course. And now governments are starting to come out with or starting to write legislation to combat this type of practice. I think my second prediction is I think the government, and we've always, as gamers, we've always seen this as a negative aspect of, the government shouldn't be getting involved in the gaming industry. It was like years and years ago. Of course, you had the situation with, violence in games. And of course, we should not give people the right to have these types of games, with blood and gore and shooting in it and everything. But now it's getting to the point where you have companies like Blizzard Activision with all of the, the discrimination and everything. I think you're going to see an exponential spike in cases of, like discrimination lawsuits, of people bringing charges against these companies and, going to the government and saying, hey, we need to do something about this. We need to change things, especially with bots. There is legislation, I think, in the U.S. now, Carl, that they're working on to try to combat the issue of bots taking, the stock from particular, companies like, say, Amazon or whatever, to combat this. So my prediction is we're going to see more government legislation. We're going to see the government step in more into the gaming industry sphere next year when it comes to legislation against this type of activity. And of course, to bring down the hammer on companies that are getting away with discrimination and unequal pay. That's my prediction. What do you guys think?
Mm-hmm.
Early,
for the
I'll start
bots,
with you. What do you think of that?
as for the bots part, the government's not going to go too much in on that. I don't think. Like that would be more the retailers, and the retailers don't give two shits because they just care about selling their units. But the government getting involved in these lawsuits of discrimination and all that, I could see the government stepping in, and these agencies and unions and stuff in the gaming industry is going to the governments and, trying to get this to fight, and some politicians jumping on the bandwagon because they think, if I do this, this is going to help make my name. So.
Yeah, I think it's certainly possible. In America, I could say that the government has a lot bigger things to deal with right now.
Well, obviously.
Yeah.
We got a lot of things happening that anything in the gaming sphere isn't that big of a deal. Now, the labor stuff, that is part of things that we need to deal with in the country for sure. There's a lot of labor problems here, and you're seeing that with a lot of people resigning from their positions and jobs after COVID, and not wanting to go back to the old way, basically, of jobs that don't pay well enough, that make you work ridiculous hours, that don't give you enough vacation time, that don't let you work from home. It's like, there is all of that wrapped into gaming for sure. I don't know. I would love to see new legislation about, job, work restrictions, or work, the amount of time you have to work for full time and other things. I'd love
to combat crunch and
I'd love to see that just as a general overall, thing for the entire country. But I don't have any hope that that's going to happen given the political, climate. It's a stretch, Now, I do think maybe it could be the year we see unionization in the gaming industry. That would be cool.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Okay. Burley, what's your second prediction?
My second prediction. See, this one originally was going to be the whole Sony streaming service. I'm not going to lie.
Right.
So.
Yeah, I think it was with the Carls too, but it's like, oh, yeah.
So
I guess we'll step on each other anyway.
Yeah.
So while I was working there, it's like I'm sitting and thinking, what can I predict, and what do you think that honestly I could see coming true? And this one you'll laugh because it was kind of brought up earlier. I don't think Cyberpunk's getting done this year. This PS5 edition. I think that's a 2023.
Come on.
I'm dead serious on this. I think they're going to realize, and with Witcher Season 2 coming soon, they are going to just put more of their efforts to Witcher 3 on PS5 and Series X enhanced editions. They're going to put their effort there.
Will Witcher 4 be announced?
I wouldn't be surprised we get a small tease at the end of Witcher Season 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
a little early. I think it'd be, for that, right?
I tease. That game ain't coming until 2026 unless CD Projekt Red needs more money.
Witcher 3 came out in 2015. What year was it announced? Do you guys remember?
No idea.
I don't remember.
Yeah, that's one that it's hard to remember because it's a franchise. Witcher 2 was already out, and people hadn't paid a lot of attention to that game. So when Witcher 3 was announced, there was that big trailer. I remember the big trailer. That was a big deal. But
it must have been probably about 7 years before it released, or so, somewhere in there.
Like 3 or 4 years, I would imagine.
Okay. So Burley, your prediction is that the Cyberpunk's PS5 edition will not release in 2022.
Yeah, they're still doing patch fixing on like bugs that are still out there that they still didn't get right from the launch. Like the game is a lot better, I've heard, but the game is still not what people were promised. So I don't think that PS5 version's coming next year. Or if it does, it's coming end of year. I have a feeling they're just going to go to Witcher and just do it. Yeah.
Now I don't know if you've seen the news on this, Burley, but they said that the Cyberpunk Series X PS5 update is scheduled for Q1 of next year, and the Witcher update is scheduled for Q2 of next year.
Yeah, I heard that.
Yeah. One more thing is that they also said that they've moved a lot of their staff off of the update to start working on the expansion content. So, kind of think it's coming.
Yeah, but how many times CD Projekt Red has told us something's coming and they delayed, and pushed things back? I don't trust these guys.
Yeah.
What they tell me and what reality are two fucking different things. After I got promised the world by Cyberpunk, you can tell me it's coming in 3 weeks and be like, okay, so 7 months.
Yeah. Could be delayed, that's for sure, but
yeah. Okay, Carl, what's your second prediction for 2022?
Right. Okay, so I lost one. I was going to do services, and on the Xbox side, I was going to say that I think Xbox Live Gold will end up going away this year or next year, rather. Yeah. But that's not enough to say right now. So the other idea that I was thinking was that I think E3 will come back in a big way, and we're going to do the physical event this year or 2022. Okay. Yeah. Right. It's like here in America, like everyone's kind of sort of fed up with COVID, like, and vaccinations are fairly strong. I wouldn't say great, right? But they're fairly strong. And you can do a vaccination requirement for the event. That's the thing. So I do think that in E3, they had that year off, and last year it was just a digital thing. It wasn't too much. They've had a lot of time. 2 years
now it's been digital, right?
The other year, they just did nothing. They had no event.
Oh, I thought they did a little like digital event or something like that, but no.
Yeah, no. So I think that they are, they had a lot of time to think it over and figure out how they're going to come back. So I think they're really going to make a big push and make this event something special and huge.
Yeah.
And, Microsoft has always been there traditionally. So Microsoft will be a big part of it.
Right.
I don't think Sony will show up again. I think they'll just kind of stay out of it, unless it somehow looks big enough where they're like, all right, I guess. But I think that's going to be huge. And the industry as a whole, I think, is going to rally around this, and they're going to be happy to like come together and exchange ideas and see new things that they necessarily like might have missed, and people are going to collaborate, and it's going to be a great thing that the industry as a whole is going to be talking about and just enjoying the moment.
Yeah, so let's just hope Omicron doesn't get too serious, or
I know, right?
So
that's the thing. Yeah, like barring COVID just getting worse, which doesn't so far. Omicron doesn't seem to make things worse yet, but we don't know. We're still not there.
Yeah.
Not sure.
Well, out here in Japan, I mean, the government was panicking day one when Omicron was announced, and even in my work, everybody's all freaking out about it. And of course the government started, closing off its borders again, and not just Japan, but, other countries were doing the same. But we don't really have much information on it yet. So
yeah. A couple targeted travel bans that were happening here, but again, it's already here in America. So like, there's no point now.
Right. It's going to be everywhere.
Yeah.
So. Hopefully
Canada, we lock down quick.
Too, so.
Yeah,
hopefully, like you said, Carl, hopefully E3 will be kind of back to what it used to be. And I hope that out here in Japan, Tokyo Game Show happens again, because now for 2 years we haven't had a Tokyo Game Show. So I would be looking forward to that, like I used to. Sure. Definitely like to see E3 go back to the way it was, and Gamescom and all the others, the PAX events and stuff like that. So, Okay, so those are our predictions. So this time next year, we'll have to kind of reminisce and look back and see if any of them came true. I know one of mine came true from last year. One of my predictions from last year, I predicted that Netflix would get into gaming, the gaming space, and they did.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
one.
Good. That's good. Yeah. I wouldn't have thought that for sure at all.
Yeah. So anyway, we shall see. So next year we'll look back at these. But anyway, let's go ahead and move on, guys. It's time to talk about our new game releases for the week of December 6th through the 12th. And we're going from the website releases.com. We're looking at that website. So, of course, we're not going to be listing every single game, but we're going to be giving our pick of the week, basically. So you can go to releases.com to check out the games that we're going to be picking, and, of course, all of the other games that are going to be releasing throughout December. But we're focusing on December 6th through the 12th. Guys, I think you're going to be in agreement with me on this. I think for once, I think we're all going to be in agreement on this game. This is my pick of the week, and I'm kind of hoping it's your guys' pick too. It's probably the biggest game, and many, many, many gamers have been waiting a long time for this game to come out. Actually, 6 years for this game to come out. My pick of the week is Halo Infinite, of course. So let me read the description for you. It comes out, of course, on December 8th, out here in Japan, the 9th, because of the time difference. So it comes to PC, Xbox One, Xbox Series X, Series S. So, Burley, why are you laughing, man? Come on, man. It's like just hours ahead. I mean, we're like, 14 hours ahead of you guys. Yeah, so you guys will get it on the 8th. We'll get it on the 9th here in Japan. So when all hope is lost and humanity's fate hangs in the balance, the Master Chief is ready to confront the most ruthless foe he's ever faced. The legendary Halo series returns with the most expansive Master Chief story yet. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to this, guys. Like I said, it's been 6 years. Halo 5 Guardians came out in 2015. And I'm really, really excited to be able to play Master Chief for the entire game. I mean, a lot of people that played Halo 5 Guardians were kind of upset at the fact that you couldn't play Master Chief the whole game. You were split between Master Chief and Locke during that game. So, and of course, more of an open world type of setting in this game. And of course, you're going to be fighting against the Banished in this game as well. So, yeah, I'm really excited. I'm really looking forward to seeing where this goes. And, I have a lot of questions about this game too, like story-wise. I mean, are we going to see Cortana in this game? I mean, are we going to see Locke in this game as like an NPC? I don't know. I could care less, honestly. Right. It's just my opinion if he doesn't show up at all. But anyway, what do you guys think? I know you guys are excited too. We're going to all be playing it day one on Game Pass. So, what are you most excited about for Halo Infinite, Carl?
I'm excited that it's like a refresh of the franchise, similar to like God of War, Breath of the Wild, right? Like they're adding something completely new, ideas to how the game plays.
Yeah, and
that's something that's going to make me want to play this game. And from all the previews I've seen, like gets me really excited. The fact that there's like little mini bosses that you can fight to get extra things, like that's something that's just obviously never been a thing with Halo.
Right.
It should be a really good game, and I'm going to be ready. Hopefully, I just got to finish Guardians of the Galaxy so I can jump right into that as my next game.
Yeah. Some of my friends and some of my students out here in Japan, they're catching up. Of course, I talked them into getting the Master Chief collection. I was like, get through those games if you're going to play Halo Infinite, and of course Halo 5. You got to play that as well. So,
I skipped 5, man. I never played 4 at launch, but I played it with Master Chief Collection. 4 is a solid game. I really enjoyed that campaign.
Well, the only reason I would not tell them to skip Halo 5 is for the story elements. Because it does carry over into Halo Infinite. So
yeah.
Burley, what are you most excited for Halo Infinite?
Climbing those towers and leaping into the bales of hay, giving all those feathers and stuff to Locke. I had to. Sorry.
Yeah.
No, I'm excited to jump into the series back again because I left the series with Reach. That was the last game I've played. I haven't played 4 or 5. I'm going to be working through them through the week on my own time when I'm not streaming and stuff. So I'm looking forward to going the industry back to the series. But like as Carl said, being different now, being open world and all that. So I'm interested to see how they're going to do it, and I'm curious to see where this story is going to go.
Yeah, and of course, next week's episode will be giving our first impressions of Halo Infinite, as we probably will have played it for maybe 3, 4, 5 hours or something like that. I don't know. We'll see, but we'll be giving our early impressions of the game. So, yeah. Okay. Do you guys have any other any kind of not pick of the week? Of course, Halo Infinite's our pick of the week, but any like other games that you might be interested in playing from this list here?
Yeah,
12 minutes, of course. 12 minutes is coming to PS4 and Switch as well.
Yes,
so
that's on the 7th. Yeah, I highly recommend you check this out because I love this game. I'm not gonna say it's like a perfect game. There's it's issues with it, but I was enthralled with this game. I did not want to put this game down.
Yeah,
I wanted to get through the end. I wanted to figure out the mystery. I wanted to know, and importantly, I would recommend that if you're gonna play this game, like you feel free to look up guides if you're stuck, because it's worth it to get through and to see the ending and to get all the endings, because you want to, like, there's a lot of it's a psychological thriller, this game, basically, and you want to experience, you want to think that it's very thought-provoking when you know all of the endings, for you to think about what really happened in this game, right? And what's the true ending, if there is a true ending. All of that is really interesting, and it's just a very streamlined point-and-click adventure type game, in a way that we've never really had before. Like, it doesn't really waste your time with tons of options of garbage that doesn't do anything, right?
Right.
So yeah, check that out for sure.
Yeah, and I just want to say too that Carl and we did a extra take episode on 12 minutes, and it's on our YouTube channel, Expat YouTube Gaming. And it's on our Patreon at patreon.com/thearena_podcast. So please check that video out, where we go over and discuss some of the endings in the game. So
spoilers, by the way. So like I would play the game first.
Right, obviously, yeah. but once you play the game, check out that video, yes, because there are some interesting endings that we do talk about. So Burley, do you have a kind of an honorable mention for this week?
Mine was going to be 12 minutes, but the best ending is where Willem Dafoe's character becomes Norman Osborn. The end.
Okay. I knew you were going to throw that Spider-Man reference in there. Yeah.
The only other one
that PS4 version, he's there's a crossover between Spider-Man, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
PS4. Yeah.
That's why you have to buy it on the PS4 version. It's the best version.
Yeah, Spider-Man shows up somewhere. That's how it works.
The only other mention is the Monster Hunter Monster Rancher 1 and 2. Coming to Switch and PC. This is something I've been looking forward to, because I wanted to play these games as a kid. But now I never had the chance, because I grew up watching the show.
Okay.
There was a show, I didn't even know that.
Oh yeah, all the episodes are on the YouTube, and it's mid to late 90s anime.
Wow.
So
you
could tell the quality.
Good anime.
It's coming out December 9th, Thursday, December 9th. In celebration of the Magic Series 25th anniversary, Monster Rancher 1 and 2 DX brings the widely population simulation games to modern hardware where players raise their own monsters and train them to compete against other eccentric creatures in combat and tournaments. With hundreds of different monster types, each with their own skills and abilities, every rancher will be able to raise and train monsters that are a perfect fit for their personality and playstyle. This special collection includes content that was never originally featured in the original Western release, such as additional save slots, free slots, and Monster Hall of Fame slots. New features have been added to Monster Rancher 1-2 DX, including the memo feature to use while raising monsters, rankings for random battles, and high-speed mode to play the game through faster. And it's also coming to mobile.
Right. Wow. All right.
Interesting. Yeah.
Okay,
I played Monster Hunter Rancher 1, and I really enjoyed that game back in the day. Does it hold up now? I mean, I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, it's worth a shot. It's a fun game.
Right, so those are our picks and our honorable mentions for the releases of the week for December 6th through the 12th. And you can see those, of course, as we said, on releases.com. So you can get the whole list of game releases for this month. So now it's time for the Xbox Game Pass Passageway. And Carl, what are the games coming out on Game Pass in the next week? Yeah.
I will try to get through this quickly, okay? But I have to update because last week these games weren't listed, but they are already. They kind of shadow dropped these. So you got Anvil, this is December 2nd. Archvale, Final Fantasy 13-2, Lawn Mowing Simulator, Rubber Bandits, and Stardew Valley. Which I'll read Stardew Valley because that's a big one that's already out. Yep. It says you've inherited your grandfather's old farm plot in Stardew Valley. Armed with hand-me-down tools, you set out to begin your new life. Can you learn to live off the land and turn these overgrown fields into a thriving home? Very popular, successful franchise there.
Yep.
And then also Space Warlord Organ Trading Simulator on December 7th. Buy, sell, and trade organs in a strange universe full of clients. Keep vampire leech organs from devouring the goods inside your cargo hold. Teach, what is this? Fleshty the Snowman to love? Oh my God. And more. I'm not making that up, man.
That's great. That's great.
The quivering innards of alien capitalism await you in the sci-fi body horror market tycoon game you didn't know you needed.
That's awesome.
I know. That's a great one to read there. Halo Infinite, of course, on December 8th. Then you got One Piece Pirate Warriors 4 on December 9th.
Oh, that's a fun game.
Yeah. Yep. And actually, this stuff after this is on the 14th, so we'll skip that. And I guess these are, in case you missed it, I guess these are also like shadow dropped ones Before We Leave, which is a sort of a sim type thing. You got Generation Zero. Which is an interesting looking game. That's an older game that came out. Mind Scanners.
Yeah.
And then The Hunter Call of the Wild, which is a PC only game. I had to look up what that was. And that's just like a hunting game. So if you like those hunting type games, you got that on PC only for Game Pass. So there you go. Lots to choose from.
All right. And now it's time for our questions and comments from our listeners, of course. And this week we have a comment from our a friend of the show, and he's on our Discord community from Tuweel. And we're going to read what he had to say about last week's episode when we were discussing physical versus digital. So he says here, Tuweel says, I'm about 50-50 when buying physical digital games. I will go with that is cheaper most of the time, unless it is an indie game I really want as a physical. Most indie games are a lot cheaper buying digital, and when those go on sale, the physical version might be 3 times more. I was a little surprised how much physical I bought this year, but the AAA games were a lot cheaper physical than buying it digital. Like Burley says, I bought Lost Judgment physically because I saved over $10 buying it physical. I do prefer digital over physical on Xbox. On PlayStation, I'm 50-50, and on the Switch, mostly physical. If I own the game digitally, I'm more likely to beat it. As for what Xbox system will sell more in the long run, he says, I think it will be the Series S. I know a lot of people that bought the S for Game Pass. The Series X is for more of the hardcore gaming crowd. If I get a second Series console, it will be an S, but I'm waiting until it gets a bigger SSD or drops $100. I bought an Xbox One S after I had the Xbox One X because it was on sale for $180. So that's from our friend Tuil. And of course, you can also write questions and comments for us on our Discord, as well as on our website at thearenapodcast.podbean.com, and as well as on Patreon at patreon.com/thearena_podcast. What do you guys think of Tuil's comments there? Burley?
I agree with them. Like on the physical and digital. Like physical, I also do agree. Like, because if I see it staring at me, the game, it makes me want to finish it. Whereas digital, I just like, it's a digital icon, and about the prices. But like, the indies, they don't drop physically much compared to like your big AAA games. And the Series S, you already know my thoughts on that. I bought mine as a Game Pass machine, and I know a few people that did.
Yep. Yeah, it's we're definitely on the same page when it comes to Switch. Like I said previously, like I don't see any reason to buy digital on Switch. Like you should buy those physical. They retain value, and they're very small cartridges. Like it's not really it's already in your hands for the most of the times. Like I have to get up and walk over there and find the disc thing, open up a thing, pull out. None of that. It's like it's not really a hassle.
Yeah.
It's funny. It made me think of me getting the Xbox One S. Like I kind of had no intention of getting it originally because I was a day one Xbox One purchase for me. But then there was Black Friday deals, and it was like I think it was $250, and you got like two games with it to choose from a list, and then some like I think also they gave you money to go on your like Microsoft Store or something like that. It was a crazy good deal. And I was like, oh, I don't know. I get, and like the obviously the original one design was like, ugh, I hated it. I didn't hate it, but it was big and it was nice. And when you compare it to the S is beautiful. So like, I was like, oh, I want that. And there was like a storm gray version. I was like, I want the gray. I didn't have the new controller because they updated the controller to have like the Bluetooth and the headset port directly into it without the adapter. So like all these reasons why I wanted to get it, and sort of goes into my prediction of like new hardware. And like there's so many ways you can incentivize people who already have it to want to buy it again. Yeah. And like PS5 is a good example of like giving me a slim down version that has a couple different things about it. Like people might just want to get it even if they already have a PS5.
Okay, so before we finish up, I just want to let you know where you can find me on social media. You can find me on Twitter at expat_gamer. And of course, I have a link tree at linktr.ee/expat2020, where you can see all of my links to, of course, Instagram, Twitter, our YouTube channels, and to our Patreon as well. And of course, you can find me at our Patreon at patreon.com/thearena_podcast. That does it for me. Burley, where can people find you on social media, man?
You can find me on Twitter at Burleyman Gaming. I'm also a live streamer on Twitch, so twitch.tv/Burleyman Gaming, and a small little promo. You can also check out my Streamloots. They're doing giveaways right now. So it's Streamloots' service. Streamers can set up to have their viewers interact with stream and make me do stuff like die in games or have to play one-handed for 2 minutes. Right. So check out my Streamloots page, streamloots.com/Burleyman Gaming.
Awesome. And Carl, where can people find you on social media, man?
I am on Twitter at Turnbased Carl. Come debate me on if you think that PlayStation Now wasn't competition for Game Pass. It just never was, ever. It's never tried.
Yeah, so Carl is like our official envoy for Twitter for the Arena podcast. So if you have any questions, you can throw them at Carl. He'll be there to answer them for you or to debate you on things. So yeah,
I like talking to people. I don't have a lot of opportunity to interact, and I try to be nice. You know, I'm not. You know, if you're nice to me, I will talk to you about it. You know, we can have a civil, great conversation on Twitter. I've had plenty. Yeah. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. And just a couple of bits of information about our Patreon. Of course, our show, The Marvelous Marvel Discussion Arena, we're going to be taping pretty soon here. Our episode 3 reactions to Hawkeye. We're going to be doing that. And of course, Burley, I heard something about a morning show we're going to be doing. Yeah?
Yes.
Did you hear about that? Yeah.
Yeah.
I
heard whispers through the grapevine.
Yeah, so I thought I'd pass this by all of you listeners and viewers. So The Arena, a multi-platform gaming news podcast with, of course, me, your host, Expat, and with my co-host, Burley of Burleyman Gaming, we're going to be doing a morning show, which will be aired live on Twitch and YouTube. The Twitch channel is the Arena _podcast Twitch channel, and our YouTube channel at Expat YouTube Gaming. So it'll be live Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time will be our starting time. It'll probably run for about 20 or 30 minutes Monday through Friday. So, and we'll go over the biggest news story in the world of video games and the gaming industry each and every weekday. So stay tuned for that. There will be more information about that later. So we'll be doing that. And hopefully Carl will be able to join us for one or two. Of course, you know, with his family, you know, situation right now, he's quite busy with that, but hopefully he'll be able to join us for one of the morning shows as well. And of course, Carl will be with us every week on Saturday when we record the regular weekly episodes. So,
I'll do my best to jump in the Twitch chat for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
Because I'm awake. I'm there. I got a baby in my hands a lot of times, and
so
that's around that time she's getting a bottle. So you know, I got awesome. My phone in my hand. Cool. I can do it.
Awesome. We'll look forward to that. Okay, so to end the episode, our indie recording artist spotlight. So this week's spotlight is on Moon. Moon, aka Sayer Twito, is a composer, arranger, producer, guitarist, and vocalist who, despite his youth, has already lent his talents to a number of high-end productions, such as the highly successful vocal ensemble The Voca People and Singolda and Friends. Okay. Moon's exceptional grassroots music features his signature guitar picking and passionate vocal style. From the title song of his album called Santa Always Comes at Night. So this has been The Arena, a multi-platform gaming news podcast, episode 65. I've been your host, Expat, along with my co-hosts, Burley of Burleyman Gaming on Twitch and Turn-Based Carl. We hope to catch you in the next one. So next week we'll be giving our early impressions of Halo Infinite and, of course, going over the Game Award winners, of course, as well. So until the next one, take care, everyone. Peace out.
I've been waiting all year for my Christmas gifts, making a list. Shiny, wrapped up in a bow, something just for me, baby, you're my wish. What my heart is longing for now, what I really want to see, what I really want underneath my Christmas tree. Getting caught up in the spirit, knowing that it's coming soon. Pretty red and green tinsel all around the room. Singing the old carols by candlelight, roasting just feels right. So right, 'cause Santa always comes at night. I've been waiting on this Sunday glow since last New Year's Eve, 'cause Santa always comes at night. Santa always comes at night. Moonbeams in late December always make me believe, 'cause Santa always comes at night. Santa always comes at night. Soon now you won't be the one I'm waiting on when Santa comes. Seeing visions of Tiffany boxes, blue and turtle doves, kissing on a gas lamp sidewalk underneath the starry sky, walking down the Royal Mile with your hand in mine, feeling like it's gonna happen, that my wish is coming true. I know that I'll be spending Valentine's with you, singing the old carols by candlelight, roasting chestnuts on the open fire. Every little thing with you just feels right. So right, 'cause Santa always comes at night. I've been waiting on this Sunday glow since last New Year's Eve, 'cause Santa always comes at night. Santa always comes at night. Moonbeams in late December always make me believe, 'cause Santa always comes at night. Santa always comes at night, yeah. I've been waiting on this sunset glow since last New Year's Eve. Santa always comes at night. Santa always comes at night.